This is Ira Glass, the host of This American Life. So much is changing so rapidly right now with President Trump in office. It feels good to pause for a moment sometimes and look around at what's what. To try and do that, we've been finding these incredible stories about right now that are funny and have feeling, and you get to see people everywhere making sense of this new America that we find ourselves in. This American Life, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Car Talk from National Public Radio with us, Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers, and we're broadcasting this week from the Center for Revised Predictions here at Car Talk Plaza.
Well, I mean, some people may remember that many years ago, maybe 5, I predicted that General Motors would be the car company of the 90s. Remember that?
Well, I can remember further back than that. I remember that you predicted that AMC, I don't even remember what it stands for now, would be the car company of the 80s. You still sticking with that one?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the AMC one, but I'm revising the GM one.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm gonna now have to push off the GM thing. I don't think they're gonna be the car company of the 90s. I think they're gonna be the car company of the 20s. The 2020s.
They were the car company of the 20s.
Yeah, and they're going to come back. 100 years later, they will be the car company of the 20s. And the problem is that everyone who currently is alive hates General Motors. I mean, it's basically that. And the only hope they have, Generation X, that was their hope. Because all the people who love General Motors are either dead or wish they were dead, as Don Chalk would say. And then you got these 20-year-olds, but all they ever have seen is Japanese cars.
Because that's what their parents bought.
Because that's what their parents bought, and that's what they buy. And what's going to happen is that in 2020, those people are going to be like 40, 50.
Right.
And they will have forgotten that they hate General Motors, because they don't really hate General Motors. They just don't care about General Motors.
Well, their kids, more importantly, will be poised.
That's right. And General Motors will have a chance in the next 25 years or so to change whatever it is they do. And I think what they're going to have to do is change all the names.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
No, not anymore.
No, I wouldn't.
Or
really.
an Olds. I mean, Olds, first of all, sounds like it's for what? Old people.
Old people.
It should be a news. Would you rather buy a news?
When they were running those ads, it's not your father's Oldsmobile, and they showed that beautiful 56 Oldsmobile 98.
Right.
Everyone said, wow, that's the one I want. I don't want that piece of crap you're trying to sell me now. So the names all have to go, and they're going to have a whole resurgence. And I predict that in the year 2020...
Wait a minute. I want to write this down. You predict,
I predict
20?
In the year 2020, General Motors will have recaptured 50% of the U.S. auto market.
2020.
20.
That's 20 years from now.
20, 25
You'll probably
years,
be,
23
you'll
years
be
from now.
Dead by then.
I'll be 106.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I'm ready to wait.
We know that.
What else have we got to do?
If you have a question about your car, you can call us at 1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hello, this is Betty from Northern Virginia. How are you?
Hi,
Betty, Northern Virginia.
Yeah, wonderful to hear your voices. I love your show. My husband and I love your show.
And you're from Massachusetts.
And I'm from Maine.
Maine.
Yeah.
So what's on your mind, Betty?
I was calling about my Mazda. It's an 87 Mazda, and the little
Mazda what?
626.
Yeah.
87, and it's going great guns. I love it. It has 201,000 and some miles on it.
Mm.
The question I have for you, which is a curious problem, occasionally it won't start.
Yeah.
I've never worried about this because I have an infallible technique of just jumping out the door, putting one foot on the ground and one hand on the wheel
and pushing
it in park. And then I will hear a little, sort of a loud click in the front, like, suspension section.
Ooh.
And then it will start, invariably. So I don't worry about it.
You have a standard transmission?
No, automatic.
Automagic?
Yes.
And when it doesn't start, you turn the key, and it pretty much does nothing except make a click, maybe.
That's right.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
What is it?
Wow.
Well, I think what's going on is the starter
Yeah.
motor
Yeah.
is partially engaging.
Uh-huh.
The gear is being thrust outward and engaging the flywheel gear, but the
Yeah.
motor part of it isn't turning. See, the starter does two things.
Yeah.
It has to send this gear out, and then it has to begin turning that gear. And it's only doing half the job. And then when it gets stuck in that position, which it will do,
Then it's done for.
then it's done for until you get out and rock the car.
Right.
And by doing that, you set a little bit of motion into that crankshaft,
Yeah.
and you release the gear, so the next attempt works.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well, you may have a bad spot on the flywheel as well. I mean, that would cause that problem. And eventually,
Yeah.
you'll have to, you'll try it. It won't do it. You'll get out and you'll rock it.
Yeah.
You'll try it. It won't work again. You'll get out and you'll rock it. And eventually, you'll realize
Right.
that the most efficient way to get where you're going is to dispense with the trying to start it. Just open the door and push the car with your foot.
all the way.
Yeah.
Well, Betty, get ready to put in a flywheel if it ever,
Okay.
because I think that's what you're going to need. But you might try the starter first.
Try a new starter.
Yeah, that may
Okay.
do the trick.
Okay.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
Bye.
So long,
Bye-bye.
Betty.
1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Gary from New Hampshire. How are you guys doing?
How far up New Hampshire are you?
I'm only in Bedford, which is outside of Manchester. So
Oh,
it's not too far from Boston.
Manchester's a couple of hours from here, isn't it?
It's like 57 miles to Copley Place.
Yeah, a couple of hours.
Or 20 minutes, depending on how you drive.
Yeah. So what's up, Gary?
Well, I got kind of an car economy question. I was doing the brakes on my old clunker, my 89 Chevy Astro van with a bajillion miles on it.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the rear brakes, and I'm looking at this thing, and it's got a bajillion pieces and all this complicated stuff. And I look over at my new car with the rear disc brakes. This is a drum brake.
Yeah.
And I look at the rear disc, and I think to myself, there's so many pieces and so much stuff. How come cheap cars have rear drum brakes and expensive cars have rear disc brakes? It seems like the drum's so many more parts, it ought to be more expensive.
Well, you would think so. The casual observer might think so.
They're
Except
all cheap parts.
they're only up to 15 cents. They really don't, because they've been making them for 1,000,000 years.
Yeah.
So they've got the machines all paid. And then what are they making? They're making pins and springs. That's all it boils down to, right? In a wheel cylinder, which is certainly cheaper than a caliper.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, and here's why many cars still have drum brakes, and the ones that don't have calipers that are very expensive, or rear brakes that are expensive. The emergency brake requirement.
Yeah.
Calipers make a notoriously lousy emergency brake because we may have explained this maybe 20 years ago, but drum brakes have one feature that makes them great as an emergency brake, and that is they self-lock.
Oh, okay.
When you pull that handle and you push the shoes out against the drum, when the car tries to roll down the hill, the shoes get jammed in there.
And they can't move, so the wheel can't turn, and you got a brake.
And it is one of the things that is an advantage for an emergency brake, but a disadvantage, in fact, for normal braking. The normal braking conditions, you don't want the thing to lock up, and that's why disc brakes became so popular and eventually usurped drum brakes.
Well, how come then on expensive cars where you can get the rear disc, how do they handle that?
They have a drum brake also.
Oh, inside the rotor.
Right, inside the disc is made so it looks like a hat. Okay,
Right.
and that part of it, that is the part that would go on your head,
It's got a little drum.
has brake shoes and all those 5-cent springs and all the stuff that your drum brakes would have, but it also has a disc brake as well. And some cars do it by having the disc brake incorporate the handbrake in it, which makes those calipers big money.
Oh, okay. Because I was looking at all these zillions of parts and thinking of the time
Yeah.
it would take somebody to assemble all that
Yeah,
junk.
no, it's a good question. It's a good question. And now you know the rest of the story.
That's it. I mean, you're not having any trouble with the little lady or anything? I mean,
No, I have no social questions besides this.
well, your question about brakes is very telling about New Hampshire, maybe.
Why is that?
Why?
Well, because people in New Hampshire have a simple lifestyle. This
They
guy's
do?
worried about his brakes. He has no problem with his wife or his children or
Yeah.
his mother-in-law.
That's true.
Actually, my mother-in-law is very nice. I can't even make mother-in-law jokes. I actually like her. So.
Yeah, of course. When they live in Wyoming, they're all nice.
Actually, Spain is where she lives.
Spain?
Yeah,
Even better.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now, there's a sweetheart for you. Thanks for calling,
Great
Gary.
guess.
Take it easy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
See you later.
It's always the case, isn't it?
Yeah, when everyone says his mother-in-law is great, she certainly lives more than one state away.
Right.
Hey, we've got more calls on the puzzler answer coming up right after this.
I'm Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. At a time of sound bites and short attention spans, our show is all about the deep dive. We do long-form interviews with people behind the best in film, books, TV, music, and journalism. Hear our guests open up about their process and their lives in ways you've never heard before. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.
These days, there's a lot of news. It can be hard to keep up with what it means for you, your family, and your community. Consider This from NPR as a podcast that helps you make sense of the news. 6 days a week, we bring you a deep dive on a story and provide the context, backstory, and analysis you need to understand our rapidly changing world. Listen to the Consider This podcast from NPR.
This is Fresh Air contributor Anne-Marie Baldonado. I talked with actor Cole Escola about their hit Broadway play, Oh, Mary. Cole plays an unhinged, alcoholic Mary Todd Lincoln who's an aspiring cabaret performer. If that makes no sense, that's part of the point. You can find my interview on the Fresh Air podcast.
Okay, it's time to find out if America was up to last week's challenge.
What? You put Folgers crystals in everybody's cup again?
No, I'm
Very tricky.
I'm talking about last week's puzzler. It was an automotive puzzler and based on a true story. It has to do with my truck.
I can't remember it.
I didn't think so. I can barely remember it.
Your truck. Yeah, go ahead.
My older son, Louis, comes to me the other day.
I got it.
He drives my truck all the time. Well, he drives it when his car runs low on gas. And he says, Dad, there's something wrong with your truck. And I say, oh, out of gas again?
Now it's my truck.
Right. No, it didn't need gas. He says, when I start the thing up in the morning, the radio stops working and the tape player is dead. The whole thing is kaput.
Yeah.
And I drive it for a little bit and it comes on by itself. And it goes off and on and off and on. So he doesn't know. He gives up. I decide I'm going to fix it. I take it to the shop one day, and I notice that as I'm driving to work, the tape player does seem to work intermittently, but I notice something interesting. When I step in the gas, it stops working. When I take my foot off the gas and go to step on the brake, it comes back.
That was it, man. That was the big clue for me.
I take my foot off the brake, I step in the gas and accelerate, it goes out. Ha, 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 I say. It's got to be a loose wire under the dash.
Did you say that out loud?
Yes. And the guy stopped next to me at the traffic light and says, uh-oh. He sped away when the light turned green. Somehow the throttle cable is moving this wire, and it'll be a piece of cake to fix. After 2 hours into the dash, I've got a splitting headache.
And your back is killing you.
And
right?
no solution. In fact, I determined there is no loose wire. There's current getting to the radio, and in fact, the whole time I'm in the shop, I've got the key on, and I'm moving everything around, and the thing works perfectly. I cannot make it not work. I gave up on it that day, and as I was driving home, just to taunt me, it started to do it again. And I noticed that if I pushed the cigarette lighter in, the radio worked. Oof. I pulled the cigarette lighter out, the radio stopped.
So many clues here.
I pushed the cigarette lighter in and held it in. The radio continued to work. The cigarette lighter caught fire.
And your thumb caught fire.
I continued driving home, and I realized I can't see a thing. And I can't see because I have no headlights. Both of my headlights aren't working. And it was at that moment.
Coincidence, one might ask?
Hardly.
Hardly.
It was at that moment I knew what was wrong.
Right.
What was it?
The light bulb went on, so
The
to
light
speak.
bulb went off, and another one went on.
Yeah.
What was happening is that the charging system had gone nutso. And in doing so, it had burned out my headlights. And
It
also,
was overcharging.
it was overcharging.
Putting out 20 volts. Who knows
when
how many?
when I put the meter on it, it pinned the thing.
Yeah.
It was putting out too much voltage, and the radio manufacturers, in their wisdom, had designed it so that there's a, a surge protection device. So if there's too much juice getting to the radio,
cuts it off.
It cuts it off.
Otherwise, you fry all those delicate little electrons that are running around there making music.
Yes. And so that when I took my foot off the gas pedal and stepped on the brake, okay, the engine slowed, the charging system returned to a normal output or closer to normal, the radio would kick in. When I took my foot off the brake and stepped on the gas, accelerated it, the alternator was making too much current, the radio would go out. When I pushed the cigarette lighter in, I
Suck up all
drew
the
some of
current,
that electricity,
lot
some
of
of those
current.
electrons,
Right.
okay, until I
The
melted.
heat electrons and not the music electrons.
That's right. They're different. They're heavy electrons.
Heavy, like hungry wolf.
So what I needed was a new voltage regulator, and that solved the problem. And do we have a winner this week? Of course we do.
Bet we
always
do.
have a winner.
The winner is Leon Gewolb.
Sounds good.
Gewolb. How would you pronounce that?
Gewolb.
From Port Washington, New York, and for having his correct answer chosen from among the thousands of correct answers that we got this week. Our buddy Leon will win our very latest table leveling device, a CD featuring our favorite calls about couples and cars called Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford. And it's a must this season for anyone who has a relationship or would like to have one or would like to get out of a relationship. That's just about everybody, isn't it?
Cool.
And by the way, we got an email here from Robert Stump from Indianapolis. He says, I'm surprised you've not heard from Bob Lutz about Tom and Ray's egregious omission in the title of their new CD. You've left out one of the big three, and it's clear that the title should have been Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford, and Lawyers Are From Chrysler.
We'll have a brand new puzzle coming up in the second half of today's show, so don't touch that dial, whatever you do. In the meantime, we'll take your calls at 1-800-332-9287.
Lawyers Are From Chrysler.
Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hello, fellas. This is Bob, somewhere in the hills outside of San Marcos, Texas.
Hey, Bob.
San Marcos, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where in Texas? East, west, north?
Central.
Midway between Austin and San Antonio on Interstate 35.
Got it. So what's up, Bob?
Well, I've got a 1986 300ZX Nissan, which I absolutely love, and has about 130,000 miles on it. Everything about this car is just wonderful, except that when I use the air conditioner, it inevitably reaches a higher temperature than I'm comfortable with.
Oh, the engine does.
That's right.
Does it go all the way up to danger?
It goes outside. It goes to the limit of
the normal
operating temperature.
Yeah.
And if I'm not careful, it will then begin to creep up even above that.
Yeah.
And I've watched it carefully. We have done just about everything. Nice new coolant and a power flush and a cooler thermostat.
Uh-huh.
But it still seems to keep on going up there. And this really bothers me. This is a car I absolutely adore.
It's ticking me off, too, Bob. I'm telling you.
What?
It's got me ticked off.
Now, when this happens, does it happen at low speeds, high speeds, all speeds?
It is slightly related to RPMs. When you get up a pretty good speed, why
It gets really up there.
Climbs more rapidly.
Yeah.
But if I don't use the air conditioner, it runs just cool as a cucumber the whole
Yeah.
time.
I mean, don't forget, when you turn on the air conditioner, you're adding a load to the engine. The engine is working harder.
Well, more importantly, you're adding heat to the air conditioner condenser, which is in front of the radiator.
Yeah.
So you're taking the air that is coming through it's supposed to be coming through the radiator. It's already 100 degrees because it's always 100 degrees in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
You're adding to that the heat from the AC condenser, and then you're asking that extra heated air
Which is in front of the radiator.
to cool off the coolant.
Does this mean I'm doomed to just have to deal with this?
No,
I
no.
mean-
I think that even though, despite your best efforts to power flush the cooling system, you have a radiator that's plugged up.
I agree with that. I'll bet it didn't do this when the car was newer than it is now. Is it true?
I've only had the car for about a year.
Oh,
This is why, and you bought it in the spring, huh?
No, the
That's
winter.
right.
Yeah. So when you tried the air conditioner, it didn't malfunction. No, you have
You
your
need a
radiator.
radiator.
Your radiator has. You may need a new one, but you may need to take it out. It's filled with CRUD, which stands for corrosion, rust, and unidentified debris.
It looks so clean.
It does look clean, but the stuff that's on there is
It's
really
attached.
on there.
It's attached. I mean, if you ever looked at the radiator, those little tubes that the coolant has to flow through are very, very small. And they have to be small, otherwise the stuff in the middle would never cool off.
Right.
But the trouble is, when they're real small, you got hardening of the arteries here. You got all kinds of buildup.
And you've got to get in there. And some radiators of old you could take apart and clean them out. But this thing, you just take the radiator out and you throw it out and you put a new one in.
I would buy a new one.
But before you do that, have the shop take the radiator out and have it flow tested. And then you'll find out that the flow rate is diminished, and then you'll buy a new radiator.
That's what I would do. I mean, why fool around? You love the car.
Oh, indeed.
And why should you have to keep looking at that stupid dial? Get it off your mind. I mean, if you're not going to buy a new one, then put black tape over the temperature gauge.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that.
See you, Bob.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck.
Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Be sure to stick around for more calls and the new puzzler coming right up.
Politics is a lot these days. I'm Sarah McCammon, a co-host of the NPR Politics Podcast, and I'll be the first to tell you what happens in Washington definitely demands some decoding. That's why our show makes politics as easy as possible to wrap your head around. Join us as we make politics make sense on the NPR Politics Podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Great conversation makes for a great party. But how do you ask the questions that really make the room come alive? Well, here at Life Kit, we got you.
What is a path you almost took but didn't?
On our latest episode, how to ask the magical questions that'll make your party sparkle. Listen to the Life Kit podcast from NPR.
On NPR's Throughline,
witnesses were ending up dead.
How the hunt for gangster Al Capone launched the IRS to power.
Find NPR's Throughline wherever you get your podcasts.
Look, we get it. When it comes to new music, there is a lot of it, and it all comes really fast. But on All Songs Considered, NPR's music recommendation podcast, we'll handpick what we think's the greatest music happening right now and give you your next great listen. So kick back, settle in, get those eardrums wide open, and get your dose of new music from All Songs Considered, only from NPR.
Hello, we're back. You're listening to Car Talk from National Public Radio with us. I do that so those of you that have dozed off will be...
You just jumped right in there. Boom!
Just snapped right out of it.
Yeah, because a lot of people do doze off during the show.
Including us. Anyway, we're here to discuss cars, of course, and car repair, and the Martha Stewart calendar of notes for the holidays. Is that what that...
Yeah, I mean, this comes out on the internet every year. Of course, it ends with December 25th, bear a son, swaddle, lay in color-coordinated manger scented with homemade potpourri. But some of the other days I thought were pretty good. I mean, Martha Stewart, she asks for this, doesn't she? She does, and she gets it.
Well, because she's perfect.
She's perfect. December 2. Have Mormon Tabernacle Choir record outgoing Christmas message for the answering machine. December 6. Fax family Christmas newsletter to the Pulitzer Committee for consideration. December 7th. Debug Windows 95. December 10th. Lay a Fabergé egg. and my favorite, December 11th. Align carpets to adjust for curvature of the earth. My wife does this. Your wife does this stuff, right? My wife does all these same things. I mean, she's as perfect as, more perfect even.
If it were possible.
If it were possible, she would be more perfect than Martha Stewart. She's probably right now laying a Fabergé egg. Listen. I mean, I saw her adjusting the carpets for the curvature of the earth just the other day. And what do? We don't do much.
We don't do much.
Yeah.
I'm in a quandary today because I came armed with what I thought was a mediocre puzzle. And I wasn't willing to accept its mediocrity.
Until you read it again.
No, I didn't read it. I happened to share it with our producer, assistant producer,
And they
associate producer.
Yeah, and they didn't like it?
They dumped all. I mean, jeez.
Nah, use it anyway. Come on.
Well,
Who are they? What do they got to say about it? Go ahead. I'm going to be with you on this.
Well, very few people know that we have a barbershop quartet at the garage, even though we have 6 guys.
Yeah.
And the reason it's a quartet
One
is
of the guys been out sick?
a couple of them can't sing.
Yeah.
So one of the guys decides he's going to go to the library and he is going to get a book on how to sing.
Mm-hmm.
But he realizes that he's so bad that he has to go to square one. So he figures if he learn how to hum first, then in fact he's got a shot at it. So he's going to hum first, and then he's going to learn to
This
sing.
is going to turn into a puzzler? Go ahead. No, I'm all ears here.
So he goes to the library. He hasn't ever been to the library, and he doesn't know anything about the Dewey Decimal System or anything, a card catalog. He walks around until he finds a book that says how to hum. He says, great.
Mm-hmm.
He takes the book. He sits down at a table and begins to read. There is nothing in it about singing, music, or how to hum.
Really?
Really? What was this book that he pulled off the shelf? You know the answer. I know you do.
Of course I do. This is the worst puzzle
All right,
you have ever used.
Then I'll use. Well, Mayor's scratching.
As long as Mayor doesn't get it, that's it. Yeah.
All right, if you think you know the answer, mail your answer to Puzzler Tower, Car Talk Plaza, Box 3500, Harvard Square, Cambridge.
Our fair city.
Ma 02238. Or, of course, you can email us your answer from our website, cartalk.msn.com. Just click on the Talk to Car Talk section. And, by the way, if we choose your correct answer at random from among all the correct answers that we receive, you'll get your own copy of our brand new tape and CD called Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford, and Lawyers Are From Chrysler. Or one of our unencumbered by the thought process mugs, inscribed in Latin. What did we finally decide on?
Oh, non impedimenti cogitatione rationis.
We got that right from the Vatican.
We did.
Yeah. We had to go to
the
big guy.
I mean, who else knows Latin like the big guy?
Like the big guy, Guido. If you'd like to call us, our number is 1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Joyce, and I'm calling from Dundalk, Maryland, which is a little suburb of Baltimore.
Hi, Joyce.
Dundalk.
Yeah, Dundalk.
Dundock?
No, Dundalk, settled by Thomas McShane, named after his Irish town of Dundalk, Ireland.
Yes, it's Dundalk, Ireland.
The top of the vanity.
Of course, now there is another story that they got their name from the Italian immigrants, that when the ship came in and they saw it, they're yelling, Dundalk, Dundalk, Dundalk.
I like that one better.
There's always a story. And it always involves Italians.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yes, I've noticed
I don't know why that is. Okay, Joyce. What's up?
I've got this little 92 Corolla.
Yeah.
In the past month, it has started making this noise in the morning when it's cold. And the noise is... Now,
when
my
you first
son
started
says,
up?
Yes.
And it goes away after what, 5 minutes?
After about 7 minutes, after it's warmed up. Now, my son says it sounds like valve tap. And I said, well, no, because when your father's fan had that, it had more of a click, click, click sound. This, I don't know how to describe it. It sounds like it has, like, air behind it.
Well, I think it is valve tap.
Ooh.
And the reason that your car makes a very different noise from the van that you had is you have a valve that's about 1/4 the mass of those valves of yesteryear in those big American cars. And when those valves made noise, it was stap, stap, tap, 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 tap. And yours, because it's a little tiny little valve, because it's a little tiny little engine, goes tick, 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 tick.
Yeah. How many miles on this Corolla?
79.5.
Hey, I don't know why it should be doing this. Have you been religious about changing the oil? That means, do you do it every Sunday morning?
No, I don't do it every Sunday morning, but I have religiously changed the oil every 3,000 miles.
Well, way too often.
That's the problem.
No, it isn't the oil at all that's causing the problem. I suspect it's deposits from your gasoline.
Yeah, I think so, too.
And you need to use, I hate to say this, a gasoline additive.
Yeah.
I mean, even though they tell you, and we even tell people, you don't need this junk.
Yes.
We found that certain cars do need it.
Now, I've always used the lowest octane in this.
That's okay.
That's okay?
It's not a matter of octane.
Okay.
It's a matter of deposits somehow getting on the valves and preventing them from closing.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, then you hear the tick, 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 and after a while it warms up and it works.
I mean, it's interesting that all the manufacturers claim that they have additives in their gas that clean,
prevent this.
But at the same time, when you go to buy gas, they have a big display rack between the pumps where they sell all these additives
that you don't need.
That you don't need.
That's correct. Yeah, well.
And one of the better ones that we found is the stuff made by Chevron called Techron.
Okay.
And it will probably work for your car.
So I should try that first before I take it to the dreaded dealer.
Yeah.
Okay.
You pour this right in the gas tank, and you take a couple of shots of it yourself. And a couple of tanks, and it might be gone.
Okay. And if it doesn't work...
Don't call back because we can't take it anymore. We just can't, Joyce. We can't take it.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
See you later.
Good luck.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
1-800-332-9287. Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, this is Bob Berger from Durham.
No last names,
Hi,
please.
Bob.
Durham, New Hampshire, or Durham, North Carolina?
Durham, North Carolina.
Hey, okay.
What's shaking?
Well, I'm having a little trouble with my wife's car, and because of that, I'm having trouble with my wife.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. She thinks I've been working on it unauthorized.
Oh.
Yeah. The problem is the air conditioning compressor is turning on whenever we turn the heater on. Now, normally that would be okay, and I think it's been doing it for a while, but I think the bearings are frozen on it.
What, are you sure it's coming on when you turn the heater on and not the defroster?
Because it's supposed to come on when you turn the defroster on.
Oh, really?
In most cars, yeah.
Oh.
Because they've realized...
What kind of a Honda is this?
It's a... Did I say Honda?
No.
I'm sorry. It's a Taurus.
Oh, it does come on.
I made it up.
I do own a Honda.
Oh, you do?
And he was wondering how we knew that.
You guys are good.
We are good, you know.
No, when you turn the defroster on in your Taurus, it automatically turns the air conditioner on. And because what they figured out is the reason that your window is all fogged up inside is that there's too much moisture in the car.
Oh.
And the air conditioner, even though it cools the air, it also primarily removes the moisture. So you send in warm air, but warm, dry air to defrost the window. And as you do that, as you evaporate that moisture from the windshield, you eliminate it from the car. It drips out the bottom.
Okay, now that we've told you that it's supposed to do that, tell us what you did to screw everything up.
Well, my wife wanted to know why I hooked up the air conditioning compressor to the heater.
Oh, she thought you did that.
Yeah. And I said, I haven't done anything, honey.
But what were you doing under there?
Oh, nothing. It just happened.
Oh, it just happened.
Well, the real question is, what other moronic things have you done around the house that made her just assume that this was just one other of them?
I figured you'd ask me that. Well, there was the time I took out electricity to half the house.
Oh.
And she still lets you work on the car?
Well, she lets me change the oil. Because
good.
I didn't tell her that one time I drained the transmission fluid out of a car. The oil.
Last week, my wife allowed me. I mean, this is a new vote of confidence. I mean, my wife would never let me touch anything in the house because I have managed to break everything that I touch.
Mm-hmm.
But she actually asked me if I would help her to hang a mirror. And I actually got little hooky things and nailed them into the wall. And every hour, I go in to see if it fell down. And I would report to her, hey, hon, still up. And it's been up now for about a week.
Did you get goosebumps while you were doing it?
Oh, it was thrilling.
I mean, did that rush?
That testosterone
was it
rush. It was there, man. It was there. I loved it.
Next week,
yeah,
I predict that you'll be allowed to clean out the garage. If you're good. Bob, tell your wife not to worry. You didn't screw anything up this time.
No.
Oh, good.
Everything's as it should be. All's right with the world.
See you, Bob.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.
Well, it's happened again.
What?
I don't know. You've wasted another perfectly good hour listening to Car Talk. Our esteemed producer is Doug the Subway Fugitive, not a slave to fashion Berman. Our associate producer and dean of the College of Automusicology is Ken Babyface Rogers. Our assistant producer is Catherine Crystal Ray. And our engineer is Jonathan Marston. Our technical and spiritual... Did he leave?
No, he's still asleep.
Oh, that's why his head's on the desk. That's why he's here. Our technical and spiritual advisor is Mr. John S. Lawler.
Grandpa Lawler.
Grippy. Our public opinion pollster is Paul Murky of Murky Research, assisted by statistician Margin Overa. Our director of new product repair is Warren T. Myfoot. Our staff butler from the Car Talk Mumbai division is Mahatma Kote. From the New Delhi office, our blues coordinator is Mohammed Antolmi. Our document security expert from the island of Jamaica is Euripides Upman. And our East Asian used car expert is Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Our evasive driving instructor is Vera Abruptly. Our Boston traffic director is Laura Biden. Our director of moral support is You the Man. Our bathroom tile installer is Lotta Bullnose. Our chief justice is Harry Mental, known on the bench as Judge Mental. Our Leo Tolstoy biographer is Warren Peace, author of Leo Tolstoy by Warren Peace. Our chief counsel from the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe is Huey Lewis Dewey, known on the benches of Harvard Square as Huey Louie Dewey. Thanks so much for listening. We're Click and Clack, the Tappet Brothers, and don't drive like my brother.
Don't drive like my brother, but it's okay to drive like my sister.
Not really. We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
And now, here with a very important announcement is Car Talk Plaza's chief mechanic, Mr. Vinny Bombans.
Daughter asked you not to spit on the microphone. Now, if you want a copy of this week's Car Talk show, which is number 50, is what you do.
Now, you're going to give everybody the phone number to call now, Vinny.
No, I'm going to get Barry Manilow to sing the number, you moron. The number to call is 303-823-8000.
And if people wanted the new CD called Men Are From GM, Women Are From Ford, and Lawyers Are From Chrysler, all the calls about couples and cars, what would...
You can't have one. But if anyone else wants Car Talk CDs or other gifts, you call the same number, 303-823-8000. Or you can peruse our Shameless Commerce division at cartalk.msn.com.
Well, thanks, Vinny. I've enjoyed the little time we've had together.
That drop dead. Car Talk is a production of Dewey, Cheatham & Howe and WBUR in Boston.
And even though Corey Flintoff calls his agent to complain every time he hears us say it, this is NPR, National Public Radio.
Shortwave thinks of science as an invisible force, showing up in your everyday life. Powering the food you eat, the medicine you use, the tech in your pocket. Science is approachable because it's already part of your life. Come explore these connections on the Shortwave Podcast from NPR.
A lot has changed in higher education since President Trump took office.
Everything that's been going on has kind of changed my life plans.
Students have come to me and they feel really scared.
On the Sunday Story, how members of the class of 2025 are feeling about the state of higher ed and their own futures. Listen now to the Sunday Story on the Up First podcast from NPR.
Know that fizzy feeling you get when you read something really good, watch the movie everyone's been talking about, or catch the show that the internet can't get over? At the Pop Culture Happy Hour podcast, we chase that feeling 4 times a week. We'll serve you recommendations and commentary on the buzziest movies, TV, music, and more. From lowbrow to highbrow to the stuff in between, catch the Pop Culture Happy Hour podcast from NPR.